Okay, we're here with Jonathan. Your background's law?
Yeah, I'm a securities attorney. So I deal with companies that are trying to raise money, companies that are trying to stay compliant within the SEC and US regulations. And so that's what I help this crazy world with.
And when did you start using your expertise in law and starting to learn how that applies to blockchain? I know it's very fast moving.
Yeah, so I started about a year and a half ago when I was working with startups, and they came to me and said, what about an ICO? And we looked through what it looks like, and from a regulatory perspective, from a legal perspective, from a compliance perspective, and we think we can do them to a certain degree in the US. The Golden Goose, of course, is a Regulation A+ offering, which there's about 40 or 50 on the SEC's desk right now. And so once one of those is approved, this entire ecosystem will blow up in a good way, of course.
Yeah.
And so that is one of the aspects needed for the fundraising part. The other aspect is an ATS status from the SEC, of course, as well. But that will allow a digital asset exchange like Apollo DAE to basically trade STO or securitized offerings. And so what you'll see is a combination of Regulation A+ and an STO or an ATS status on an exchange will basically allow the average everyday investor, as well as institutional investors, to offer these products to their clients, to their customers, and the average mom and pop can say, I really like those guys, I want to invest $500 or $1,000 or whatever. And that's something we've never seen before.
Yeah, so give us an example. Is that fractionalized, tokenized securities that is very frictionless in terms of the transaction?
Yeah, so we're trying to knock out the barriers, right? We're trying to make it smooth and very frictionless. But there's securitized offerings where it's a share and it acts like a security. It is basically a security in that you get voting rights or equitable distribution and dividend rights, that kind of thing. And then there's tokenization where it acts like an arcade coin. It's something that's within that arcade, but then you can cash it out if you have enough arcade tokens, you know what I mean? And that's kind of the secondary exchange stuff. But those are two kind of fundamentally different things. But once we're able to kind of separate those asset classes and bring them to the masses, there's a lot of crazy things that are going to happen to this world.
And where are we in that timeline?
So imagine you actually owned your data on Facebook, and you could license it out to different companies that wanted to know whether you like snowboarding, whether you like winter sports or surfing or anything like that, so your ads could be targeted towards you, so you could monetize your own self-profile.
Amazing.
Those kind of things are slowly being worked on and developed, but that's kind of what this ecosystem will allow for.
So are we ultimately waiting for the SEC to approve some of this stuff in the States?
There's two things we're waiting for. We need a Regulation A+ offering approved. That is a true ICO that will allow everyday average investors, non-accredited persons, to invest up to $50 million in a company. And that's big. The other one is an ATS status, which will allow a digital asset exchange to trade in cryptocurrency as a security. Once either one of those happens in the next probably 12 months, not to say this is market advice, but you will see Bitcoin and Ethereum go crazy, because that means we are really developing to kind of the early toddler stage. We're kind of at the baby crying and everything's not fair, but then we're starting to develop into the walking, talking, running kind of stage, and that's when things are going to get really, really exciting.
And Apollo, where are they? Are they developing the exchange and then kind of in a holding pattern to see what happens?
That's a great question. So we're looking to list clients that are actually STOs under US law. And so we're looking for companies that we want to be compliant. We do not want to go to jail. We want to, play well with others. And so Apollo DAE will be launching in Q4 of this year. We will not be able to list the STOs and all of those kind of companies, but we will be able to kind of pre-vet them. We are looking at listing, of course, the legacy coins, everything else that's kind of out of the SEC's purview, because it's been so long and it's so decentralized that it's not really an issue for them. But that being said, we're also looking for a banking partner and all these kind of things to really develop this out. So you as an investor could invest in a company and then cash out when they get listed, because you say, hey, I've already made my investment work, so maybe I'll take a little bit out and go buy a new car, or whatever you want to do. Not to say that's investment advice, but that kind of thing is going to happen, and that's where we are. We're very early stage, but we see the future, and the future is very bright.
How can people find you guys online or follow Apollo?
That's a great question. Apollo DAE is available, just apollodae.io. I'm always available. My last name is very easy, Dunsmoor. So LinkedIn, Twitter, anything like that.
Awesome. Absolute pleasure. It's great to get your perspective, and we wish you all the best.